Welcome everyone. Thank you all for joining us. Tonight we are learning L'Refuah Shlema for Avram Yaakov Ben Yal and L'Refuah Shlema to Chava Bat Chaya Esther, as well as Le'iloi Nishmas Avram Ben Chaim Yehuda, Rabbi Avram Ben Chaim Yehuda, and Yecheskel Ben Rabbi Avram. Okay, so we are getting close to Shavuot, the time where HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us the Torah, and whenever you look at a holiday, it's not something, and we speak about this actually quite often on different holidays. It's not just something that happened in the past that we are reliving. Maybe reliving is not the right word, but like remembering. It's something that's happening every single year. There is a Kabbalah Satara. There is an acceptance of the Torah. Now, the holiday of Shavuot is known as the wedding between the Jewish people and HaKadosh Baruch Hu and God. And we would like to go and try to delve into that through the study of Torah, through the way that you relate to Torah. So when we look at historically the amount of people studying Torah, the way the Torah was studied, right? If you look at, let's say, 75 years ago, 80 years ago, right when let's say right after World War II, right after the destruction of the European Jewry, so we had, people that left. Obviously, they had to either they escaped or they left, after the Holocaust, and they either went to America, they went to Israel. Those are the two most popular places. They went to some places in South America as well. But in any case, you have people spread out. When you look at Israel, for example, in 1948, there were only 400 yeshivah students in the entire country. If you think about that number, 400 yeshivah students in the entire country. If you look at it today, and this is not actually today, the study that I was reading it was done sometime in 2023, so sometime within the past year, there are over 350,000 yeshiva students just in Israel and learning over 1,600 yeshivot. Now this is a number that was taken by the government, meaning that the government gives funding to yeshivas. They give funding, which is great. We greatly appreciate them funding the yeshivas in Eretz Yisrael. This comes out to about a quarter of the funding that they give to the universities. So they're giving money, and it's great that they're giving money, but just put a little bit in perspective. But of course, we're very grateful and very thankful for what the government does give to the yeshiva students. So this is where the number comes from, because they're giving 350,000 people funding for learning Torah. Really, the number is going to be greater than that, because not everybody is getting money for learning Torah in Eretz Yisrael. There are some people that do it without not on the government the payroll. But in any case, you see the tremendous jump in the number, 350,000 in just a period of 75, 80 years. And you look at it, that's just in Israel. You look at America, there are new communities blowing up everywhere. I shouldn't say everywhere, but wherever there is a hub of some sort of Jewish connection, there is all the surrounding areas are spreading with Jewish communities. And there are yeshivas that are being built, there are shuls that are being built, it's overall a tremendous growth. And it's not only the growth in numbers. You look at people in general, communities in general are becoming stronger. They're coming closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You look at if you look at a place like Brooklyn, there is every few blocks is like another community per se. But there could be like a Syrian community, there could be a Litvish community, there could be a Bukharian community, there could be a Persian community, there could be a Kafkazi community, and there could be a Hasidic community. In general, what you are noticing is the amount of Torah learning now is much greater than it was in the previous generation. Now, when you start and you stop, you have to think about that. Like, why? What has changed that now it's become grown? You see, men are going to shul, they're learning at night, they're learning in the morning. Women are going to classes. Case in point, where we are right now. You have over here the amount of people that are learning Torah online is so hard to wrap your head around it, because 20 years ago, if a rabbi gave a class and 50 people showed up, 100 people showed up, that was like a huge number. If you had 200 people showed up, that's like a crazy number. You have only the superstars would have those type of numbers. Now, when you look at just most rabbis that are putting classes online, that's only a fraction of the number of the views of the people that are sitting and learning Torah. That over there are to have someone put up a shiur online on Torah Anytime and you have thousands of views is something that's unheard of, 20, 30 years ago. You did not have this. You did not have, unless you're saying that's like a gadol and things like that, but in general, you did not have a regular rabbi giving a class and you have 5,000-10,000 people, sitting and listening to the classes. It's something that's really, really unheard of. So we're seeing this transition of what's happening all around us. And maybe you're sitting in the sidelines and you're like, I don't get it. Like, what are these people doing? Like, how could someone go and sit and learn? How could somebody go and enjoy this type of, this type of learning? You go look, you walk into a yeshiva where people are sitting and learning, and they're opening up these old Gemaras and they're learning all day. Unlike things like you would be like, what are they even talking about? Like, okay, an ox that gored a cow. I don't own an ox. I don't know anybody that owns an ox. I'm not sure what the difference between an ox and a bull is. I'm like, goring a cow? Who has a cow? Who uses an ox to plow? Like, I can't pick out an ox from a lineup. You have so many... But this is what the people are sitting over there. They're sitting and they're learning all day. And what's going to happen if an ox gores a cow? And what happens if an ox falls into a ditch? And what happens if two people are walking into the thing saying, oh, this piece of cloth is mine? This is what people are sitting and learning, and the question you might be asking and be like, what's going on? Like, how am I like missing this? How are people, instead of listening to music, they're listening to Torah classes? How are people, instead of watching movies, they're learning Torah every night? How are women, instead of doing whatever they're doing while they're cleaning or cooking for Shabbos, they're sitting and they're learning Torah classes? How can I connect to that? And maybe you could say, maybe I am one of those people. I'm one of those people that are learning. I'm one of those people that are not sitting at the sidelines. I am, every time I'm walking, or I'm listening to a shiur. Every time I'm doing something, I'm listening to Torah classes. But you want to get it to the next level. You want to take it to the next step. And that is the goal for tonight, Be'ezrat Hashem. The mitzvah to learn Torah, the Chinuch brings us down as the mitzvah number 419. This is based off the pasuk, the verse in Devarim, Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 7. V'shinantam levanecha, you shall teach it to your children. V'dibarta bam, and you should speak about it. B'shivtecha bebeisecha, when you're sitting in your house. V'alachtecha b'derech, and when you're walking. V'shachbecha uv'kamecha, when you lay down, and when you get back up. Says Rav Shimshon Pincus that this there's a positive commandment to go and learn Torah, and there is a blessing that we make on this commandment. And the blessing we say every morning by prayer. We say Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvot v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu commanded us to delve into learning the words of Torah. Right after that speaks a continuation of this blessing is v'harivna Hashem Elokeinu. The part of the tefillah is now we're asking HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we're asking God to make Torah v'harivna, means to make it pleasant for us, to make us enjoy it. Now this is very interesting, says Rabbi Shimshon Pincus. We don't see this in any other mitzvah. There is no other mitzvah that we ask for the enjoyment of it, right? We do not, when it comes to shofar, we don't, before we make a blessing on shofar, say, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, please let me enjoy the sounds that this person is going to make when he blows. Some people enjoy it when it comes out and there's a little bit of saliva that falls out, or it comes out and it sounds like, he's just blowing into a big piece of like, everything it doesn't sound clear. And that maybe for some people is a little bit of enjoyment, but we don't make a blessing, let us enjoy the shofar. We don't make a blessing, let us enjoy the matzah. Let us enjoy the v'harivna with the sukkah. We don't have that. So why is it, asks Rabbi Shimshon Pincus, that Torah learning is completely different than all the other mitzvahs that we're asking for an enjoyment in it? Why is enjoyment so important in learning Torah? If you don't enjoy a mezuzah, kissing a mezuzah, if you don't enjoy putting on tefillin, if you don't enjoy keeping Shabbos, but you do all those things, you're still a good Jew. Now, you should enjoy it. It's better for you to enjoy it. It makes it easier for you if you do enjoy it. But you could be a good Jew, and you might not enjoy certain things, but you do it because you check off the boxes. And you check off the boxes, then you're good. But when it comes to Torah, it's not just about checking off the. It's v'harav. No, you have to enjoy. You have to have this pleasure in it. And the question is why? Why is that? That's question number one. Question number two. We know that besides loving Torah, you also have to love HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It says, "V'yahavta es Hashem Elokecha b'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha v'chol maidecha." You have to love HaKadosh Baruch Hu with all your might, with everything that you have. You have to love HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And 2 psukim later, and by the way, we say this every day. This is Shema. V'yahavta es Hashem Elokecha b'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha v'chol maidecha. 2 psukim later, v'shenamtem levavnecha is the commandment to learn Torah, meaning that you have a commandment in Devarim chapter 6 verse 5. You have a commandment to love God. 2 verses later, it says you have a commandment to go and learn Torah. Why is it connected and so close that first it's loving God and then it's learning Torah? And we'll add up another aspect on it, on the bracha of Kriya Shema, when we ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu, again, a prayer that we only do for Torah. We don't have this type of prayer of anything else. Ahava Rabbah or Ahava Soilam, depending on what nusach you're reading. Ahava Rabbah, Aftanu Hashem Elokeinu. We start off, there is a great love that God has for us. And then I'm going to skip. I'm not going to go through the whole, the whole Ahava Rabbah. And then the tefillah goes on and says, Avinu Ava Rachaman. Our Father in heaven, have mercy on us. And we're asking HaKadosh Baruch Hu, please have mercy on us, right? You're asking HaKadosh Baruch Hu for like a serious thing, right? If you're going and you're asking God for something, and you're saying, okay, please have mercy on us, this is something that must stand out more above anything else, right? It's not like we ask mercy for HaKadosh Baruch Hu that we should have parnasa, even though we need parnasa through the mercy, but we don't use that terminology. We don't use that terminology when we ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu for help in other mitzvahs, but when it comes to Torah, Avinu Avarachman Rachem Alina v'Sein B'Libenu Lahavinu Lahaskel Lishmaya Lilmod Lamed Lishma V'Lasis V'Lekayim V'Skol Devei Samu Torah Secha Be'ahava. We ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu to understand your Torah, but how to understand your Torah? What is the last word I just said? Be'ahava, with love. Again, what's with the love? Why is it love over here? And then it goes on. You have to, I just realized now that I didn't translate anything I just said. So I apologize. I'm not going to go through all the translation because we already passed it. But all you need to know is, if you didn't follow the translation, is that when we daven for these things, we're asking, it starts off with, we're saying, God, you love us. Then we go on to say the next point, which is, please, and we are begging it. This is a beg. This is out of mercy. We're saying, please, let us understand. Let us be able to learn, to hear, to guard it, to keep the Torah and the mitzvahs, but really specifically to learning your Torah with love, be'ahava. And then it goes on and says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu should light up our eyes with the mitzvos, and this will unite our hearts for loving and fearing HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So there's 3 aspects we focused on over here. One is loving God. Or actually, God loves us. Number 2 is that we should love learning Torah. And number 3 is that we should come to loving God and fear God. So the question is, there's also, this is surrounded with, like, learning Torah with love is connected somehow to God loving us loving God, and us loving Torah. This whole thing is connected. So we have to try to uncover what's this connection over here, and how does it relate to this holiday of Shavuot, where we are, getting the Torah and getting this level of a marriage with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, with the Torah. So, in order to understand this and the difference between Torah and other mitzvos, if your spouse asks you to do something and you don't want to do it, you don't like doing it, is a better thing, but you do it anyway, then you kind of checked off the box. So for example, if a wife goes to her husband, can you take out the garbage? The husband doesn't want to take out the garbage, right? There's no enjoyment that the husband gets by taking out the garbage, but the wife asked. So fine. So he'll go and he'll do it. The wife goes over to the husband and says, do you mind coming shopping with me? The husband does not want to go shopping with his wife. He's not interested in going shopping with his wife, but his wife asked it. So okay, fine, he's going to go. Now, is he going to be a grouch about it? Is he going to be a fuss about it? No, obviously, if you're a normal person, you're a normal husband, you go with a fake smile or a real smile if you're able to muster it up, and you say you enjoy so much. You love seeing your wife try on so many dresses. You love sitting and waiting online for 6 hours to figure out which shoe goes with which dress, to make sure that the headband matches the car color and the seat color and the place where with the flowers of what you're going to, and last week, yes, the colors that you have never known before. You love this stuff. It's very enjoyable. So if you're going and you just do it, whether or not you enjoy it, you still checked off the boxes. If a husband goes over to a wife and says, but darling, I have an early business meeting tomorrow. Can you do me a favor? Can you wake up early, please, and make me lunch? I'm not going to have time with it, prayers and things like that. Does the wife want to wake up early to make a sandwich for her husband? Most likely not. Most likely she'll be much interested in sleeping in and not having to do it. But she'll get up, she'll make a sandwich, whether it's good or whether it's bad, she'll just check off the boxes. Did it make a difference that when the husband was taking out the garbage, he wasn't singing for joy, for happiness, and the joy of being able to take out the garbage? No. Does it make a difference that if the wife has to wake up at 4 a.m. and she has to go and she has to make a sandwich for her husband, that she's not singing with all the birds chirping in the background, because she's able to do something for her husband? No, it doesn't make a difference as long as you made the sandwich, as long as you took out the garbage. Is it better if you're happy? Yes. Is it better if you enjoy it? Yes. Is it necessary? No. But what about if the husband doesn't like spending time with the wife? What about if the wife doesn't like having a one-on-one time with her husband? The fact that maybe she doesn't like doing tasks for him, or he doesn't like doing tasks for her, but they do it, they check off the boxes. But if they don't like spending time with each other, but let's say even they do it anyway, they just don't enjoy it, they don't want to spend time with each other, that's a big problem. Meaning that you can have a good relationship with your spouse and not enjoy running the errands. You cannot have a good relationship with your spouse and not enjoy spending time together with the spouse, right? Because that is the crux, that is the center, that is the foundation of the relationship. So the husband and the wife need to enjoy spending time together. They don't need to enjoy doing the tasks, doing the errands of the other spouse, but they need to enjoy spending time together. Torah is spending time with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When you go, we know that the davening is when you talk to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Torah is when HaKadosh Baruch Hu talks to us. When we're spending time with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when we're connecting to God, we have to enjoy that because that's the relationship. Yeah, we have to do a bunch of mitzvahs. Do you have to enjoy it when you don't have to enjoy it. You still get the mitzvah. Of course, it's better. Of course, it's a higher level of reward if you do enjoy it. Of course, you're supposed to always do everything with happiness. But is it the aspect? Is it the 100% necessity? No, you could still check off the boxes. You have the mezuzah. You might not be obsessed with the mitzvah of mezuzah, but you have a mezuzah in every room. You checked off the boxes. If you cannot have that if you don't have an enjoyment when you're learning Torah, then you don't have a relationship. You can't say, well, I'm doing it anyways. I don't care if I don't enjoy. I'm doing it anyways. I checked off the box. That's not, it's a husband going with the wife and be like, fine, okay, you want a date night? Fine, let's go for a date night. Then you're miserable the whole time, right? You're checking your phone. You're looking at this, okay, I need to take a break from you, that's not a relationship. That's something that won't be able to stand. You go walk into a yeshiva, that there's a kollel, we have adult men married with children and bills. Very important aspect to the story. They have bills. And they're sitting and they wake up early and they go and they sit and they learn for 4 hours straight. Then they take a little break. And then they go back and they learn for another 3 hours. And then they take a little break. They help with the wife. They help the kids. They come back and learn for another 2 hours. And they do not do this for money because there is no money in what they are doing. So why are they doing it? Why are people, 350,000 people in Israel, right, and who knows how many in America and throughout the entire world are sitting and are waking up early and are spending their times learning Torah? Like we're like a kollel person doesn't clock in, doesn't clock out. They're there because they want to be there. If they don't want to be there, they're not there. No one's going to check them and be like, well, you weren't here today. You're there because you want to. Where did they get that from? That's because they enjoy it. There's a love that they have for it. And if they enjoy it, they love it, they spend time together with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, they say, what's better than this? Of course I want to do it. There was a kollel guy. There was an avrech, not the right terminology, Talmid Chacham, who decided that he, in the middle of Seder, so Seder is a time when the learning session is in session, right? So let's say it's between, it's from 9 to 1. So, anywhere between 9 and 1, this person decided that he is not going to go and do any personal tasks. He's not going to take on any personal tasks during this time. He said there was a little bit, selfish reasons, because he realized that every time that he would do something that was personal during the time when he was supposed to learn, it just never worked out. He went to the bank, the teller wasn't there, they got pushed. He had to go to the pharmacy, the stuff wasn't there. Nothing used to work out. So he said, you know what? From now on, anything that I have to do has to get done out of the time when I'm supposed to be sitting and learning. So this particular Avrich, he was sitting and he was living in a place in Eretz Yisrael called Pardes Katz. And it was Bein Hazmanim. It was before, Bein Hazmanim is like the vacation period. It was right before the holiday of Pesach. So the yeshivas, from Rosh Chodesh Nisan, they ready, people go home, they go and they help and they do whatever. It's a little bit of vacation. And this person decided that, you know what? I have vacation from my regular kollel, but he still wanted to continue learning because he loved it and he didn't want to stop it. So he wanted to go and join a local kollel that's near him. And he went into this kollel, but unfortunately he wasn't accepted. It was too full, whatever it was, he didn't get in. So he decided he's going to go into the place anyways, and he's going to sit and learn. He won't get the $50 extra a week or whatever it is that they were going to give him. He was going to sit and he was going to learn anyways. So he's sitting over there, and the schedule over there was a little bit more flexible. It was like, instead of starting from 9, it started at 10. 10:30 one day, he sees there's a large commotion in the back of the shul, in the Beis Medrash. He goes, he asks the person, like, what's going on over here? He said there's a rabbi in the neighborhood that he lived in, Pardes Katz, that had a certain amount of money that he was giving out to all kollel families. All the families that are someone is sitting and learning Torah, they are getting an extra 500 shekels for the upcoming holiday of Pesach. Now, Passover is a very expensive holiday. There's 500 shekels for somebody who doesn't have a lot of money, goes a long way. Now, this person is sitting over here and he's learning and he's thinking, he's like, wait a minute. He's like, I should really go and get it, right? Like, I'm not even part of this kollel, and I'm not even, like, I'm learning, yeah, but, like, I need the money. And you start making all these excuses. And then, he comes to the conclusion and says, you know what, no. He says, I made a decision that when I'm learning, I'm not dealing with anything else. After the learning, then I'll go and I'll deal with it, and we'll take care of it afterwards. So he decides that he's not going to get up, he's not going to go and waste time right now, he's going to focus on learning. He's sitting over there and he's learning. When the learning session was over, when the Seder was over, he gets up and he makes his way to the shul where everybody was getting the money for from the local community. And he gets over there. There's one person ahead of him in line. And the guy who's handing out this paperwork that needs to be done before you get the money, he sees that the guy gives the guy in front of him the last paper. So he quickly says, do me a favor. He says, before you write anything on it, I'm the last person here. Let me just make a quick photocopy so that I could fill it out also. Now the attendant over there is hearing this. He says, no, you can't make a photocopy. Every single one is numbered. The rabbi has only a certain amount of money that he's able to give out, and this is the last one. I'm sorry, but you missed it. So this guy thinks for a second, and he's like, look at that. He says, I just missed it. The money that I need so badly, I just missed it. So instead of, feeling bad about it, he says, you know what? No, I did the right thing, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu will help. He leaves the shul. Not a few minutes go by, he gets a phone call. And it's from an organization called Dirshu. He entered some sort of, raffle with a learning thing, whatever. He entered somewhere. He said, is this so-and-so? He says, yes. He says, I would like to congratulate you. You just won a prize of $5,000. Which is valued at that point in time, when he's saying the story, it was valued about 18,000 shekels. So he lost 500 shekels because he, had to stay in, but he ended up getting 18,000 shekels from whatever it is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu's plan, however it worked out. And not only that, this person obviously did not have a lot of money. He was sitting and learning all day, and he was living in a very cramped environment, very, very cramped apartment. And they wanted to get a bigger apartment, but they couldn't afford just the down payment. Forget about the regular, bills, the day-to-day bills. They couldn't afford the down payment. And now that he got this 18,000 shekels, he had this money that he was able to put it as a down payment for a bigger apartment. And when he said over this story he said over in his new apartment as a Chanukah Sabayis, where he was had a bunch of people over for a meal to thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu for the house that he was able to acquire. So we learned 2 lessons from the story. Number 1, when you do something that's right, it will work out. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will take care of you. But number 2, when you think it's hard for you, right? If let's say it's hard for you to sit and learn and be like, okay, it's not as easy for me. Okay, those people that are sitting and learning all day, for them it's easy. He says no, it's also there's also difficulty for them. It's also difficult for the call guys. It's also something that they have to work with. But the question that we have to ask, if the money was so tight for this guy, how was he able to withhold himself? There were so many right reasons. There were so many good excuses that he could have just gone and got the money. How did he do it? How did he do it? And we could say even that guy was able to pass that test. If we were put in that same situation, would we be able to pass that test? So if we're not there yet, how do we get to there? So this is the goal of what we would like to try to get tonight. I would like to speak about 4 ways that we can get to the point of loving, enjoying learning Torah, and which will be the outcome of loving HaKadosh Baruch Hu and having V'ahavta es Hashem Elokecha. So the Gemara, the first way, there's a Gemara in Pesachim, page 49b, that the Gemara expounds on the following pasuk. Torah tziva lanu Moshe marasha ki las Yaakov al tikri ma'irasha ela me'urasa. So there's a pasuk that says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that the Torah was Torah tziva lanu Moshe came from Moshe Rabbeinu marasha ki las Yaakov, and then it says the word ma'irasha. Ma'irasha can mean literally an inheritance, but the Gemara says don't read it as Ma'irasha, an inheritance, but rather read it that Torah is not an inheritance, but rather Torah is Me'urasa. Me'urasa is something that's betrothed. It's like an engagement. As the Maharsha, or better yet, explains the Maharsha, the Gemara, what's the difference between inheritance and someone that was betrothed or engaged, Me'urasa? The difference is that inheritance you get automatically. Torah is not something that you get automatically. Torah is not something that you get as an inheritance. Torah is something that it's like an arusa, someone that was betrothed. What does that mean? What does it mean to be a arusa, to be a betrothed? I'm using the term lightly of engagement. So in the times of the Mishnah, in the times of the Gemara, the marriage process was in 2 stages. In fact, it went after the time of the Gemara as well. I would say maybe about 1,000 years ago this stopped. But in any case, the process that it was of marriage was there was two stages of marriage. Number 1, there was a stage called Kedushin, and this is where they would get a level of engagement. We'll soon explain. And the second step is known as Nisuin, the final step of marriage. So these were done at 2 separate occasions. They were usually separated by about a year, which the groom would end up going and learning Torah during that time, and both the Kedushin and the Nisuin will be accompanied with a celebratory feast and a big party. And the reason why this ended sometime in, I would say around the 12th century, this ended because there was a lot of poverty in the Jewish communities, and they couldn't afford to have two weddings. So this is one of the reasons, and hence they started making the Nisuin and the Kedushin together at one time, which is what we do to this day. So Kedushin is commonly translated as the betrothal period, where the Kala is becoming an Arusa. The level of what this means is that in the ancient times, if, again, this is not what engagement is nowadays, but in the ancient times, during this Kedushin period, if the woman or the man decided to part ways, they would need a get after, even though they didn't get to Nisuin, they would still need a get at this point in time. They were married, but not fully married, meaning they were married in a sense that, they couldn't be together, they couldn't be with anybody else, they couldn't marry anybody else, but they were not permitted to live together. That's when the Nisuin was. So it was like an in-between stage. The final stage of marriage would be the Nisuin, where the Chassan and the Kala, they seclude themselves, they go into the Yichud room, and they seclude themselves together with the Kala. And this is the Nisuin, and this is the Kedushin. And what does it say when HaKadosh Baruch Hu married us? What was it Nisuin and what was the Kedushin? So it says in Isaiah chapter 2 verse 21, Ve'astich li le'olam, and I betroth you for me forever, meaning Matan Torah on Har Sinai, the holiday of Shavuot. This HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave bequeathed the Torah to every single Jew for every single generation till the end of times. However, it was as an arusa, it was as a betrothal, it was part of the Kedushin, meaning that every Jew is connected to the Torah, but they're not. They don't have that final stage of the nisuin yet. They don't have that final stage of marriage yet. That comes with what? With the process of seclusion, which is the process also of when one person goes and secludes in the Torah, meaning that they're able to focus. They're able to focus completely on the Torah. They seclude themselves with the Torah. They have nothing else going on. That is when they go and they connect and they are able to get that marriage of the Torah. And this is step number one, to be able to connect to Torah, to be able to love Torah. You have to seclude yourself with Torah. You have to be fully focused when you're learning in Torah. You go over here, yes, it's great that you're learning when you're doing other things, and you should learn when you're doing other things. But you want to know where you're able to get that enjoyment, the love, is when you seclude yourself, just like when the husband is together with the wife. They can't be focused on anything else. They have to be focused only on each other, and all I have to do is you. If a husband and wife go on a date, and the husband's on the phone, and the woman is looking through Snapchat or through whatever it is, Instagram or whatever social media it is, that's not a date. That's not spending time together. You spend time together when you have fully focused on each other. And this is step number one. You want to be able to enjoy Torah. You want to be able to love Torah. You have to have this period, this connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, this connection to the Torah where you're fully focused and you're dealing only with this, just like the period of Nisuin and Kedushin, where the first period you can be married. You can't be with anybody else. You're a Jew. You're stuck. You can't go and renounce Judaism. It doesn't work that way. But how do you go and you complete the process? When you seclude yourself with the Torah, when you focus on the Torah, and when you connect to the Torah. That's step number one. Okay, let's go to step number two. There's a pasuk in Daniel. That says, Yehav chachmasa lechakminin. The HaKadosh Baruch Hu says that He's going to give wisdom to the wise. Now, there was a Roman noble woman that went over to Rabbi Yochanan and said, I don't understand this. Says, why is God giving wisdom to the wise? God should give wisdom to someone who doesn't have wisdom. Right? That would make more sense. Why are you giving wisdom to the wise? So the rabbi responded to her and said, listen, you have a lot of money. You have two people that come to you for, they want to borrow money for you. One is a rich guy, one is a poor guy. Who are you going to lend money to? So the noble woman says, I'll lend it to the rich guy. Says, why? The poor one needs the money more than the rich guy. She said, yeah, but the rich guy is more likely going to pay me back as compared to the poor guy. He's, probably not going to pay me back. So the rabbi responded and said, listen to the words that are coming out of your mouth. He says that if HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives wisdom to someone who is foolish, they will misuse the wisdom. So rather, God gives wisdom to the wise because they will be able to appreciate the wisdom. They will be able to understand the wisdom and able to grow from the wisdom. So explains Rav Shimshon Pincus, before the gift of Torah can be given, the recipient has to prove to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and to himself that he's capable of treating the gift with the importance that it deserves. Meaning that you want to know how you're supposed to do the second level of how to connect to Torah. You have to realize, you have the proper appreciation for what Torah is. Like if you think about it, if the Torah is for the wisdom, and the wisdom is only given to the wisdom, so it's like a cycle. How do you get into it? And the way that you get into it, that you bring to it, if you're able to appreciate the value of the Torah, that's when HaKadosh Baruch Hu will give you the Torah. And this explains Rav Shimshon Pincus. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives wisdom to only someone who has wisdom, meaning that someone who knows Torah's value. If you know the value of Torah, if you could appreciate the value of Torah, that's when you're going to get it. The Hagai Sashri brings down a true story that happened. There was we'll call him Ruvain. Ruvain bought a piece of metal. And he thought this metal was tin, which is a cheaper metal. He bought it from a blacksmith. He was going to use it for his roof. Whatever reason, he decided he doesn't want to use it anymore, and he decided he's selling it to Shimon. And Shimon bought this piece of tin. Shimon began working on this piece of metal, and he started, just scraping it. And he noticed, to his surprise, that under the level of tin, as he scraped it off, it was solid silver under it. And it was a piece of silver that was coated with a light layer of tin. So when Ruvain, who sold it to him, discovered this, he goes over to Shimon and says, you owe me the difference. He says, I sold you tin, but really this is silver. So they went over to the rabbi. He says, what do we need to do? Do we need to go, and do I need to pay him, or is it rightfully mine? So the rabbi responded that Shimon, the guy who bought it second, doesn't have to pay him anything. Why? Because when Ruvain sold it, when Ruvain had it in his possession, he only had it as tin. He didn't know the value that it was under it. He didn't acquire the value under it. He didn't purchase the value under it. He had it as tin, and he sold it as tin. And hence, therefore, Shimon does not have to pay Ruvain any extra money for the fact that this is worth more than what he paid for it. Explains the rabbi, this happens, this is the same thing for the Torah as well. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave Torah to the entire Klal Yisrael. and we own it. We have it. It's ours. However, our ownership of Torah only extends to the level of how much we know about it and how much we appreciate it. If we recognize the depth of Torah, if we recognize the value of Torah, that's when we're going to acquire it. If Reuven would have recognized his value, then yes, he could have claimed, you owe me more money for it, but he didn't recognize it. You want to know how to, you have to know the value of what you're holding. You have to know the value of what you are born into or what you came into. You have to understand the value of what Torah is. And the measuring stick, explains Reb Shimshon Pincus, the measuring stick of a person's appreciation for Torah is the pleasure that person takes in learning it. The awareness of the value of Torah, it all depends on how much pleasure that you have in it. If you understand, the more that you understand the appreciation, the value of Torah, the more that you're going to go and you're going to enjoy it. And this is, when you look at the value of Torah, the Zohar tells us, HaKadosh Baruch Hu istakal ba'araisa v'vara alma. HaKadosh Baruch Hu looked into the world. The Torah was created before the world. 974 generations before the world was created, the Torah was created. The HaKadosh Baruch Hu looked into the Torah and created the world, meaning that the Torah is the blueprint of creation. HaKadosh Baruch Hu looked into it, meaning that he looked into the Torah and says, okay, now I'm going to build the world around this. Like there was, I forgot which Rav said it, but people think, okay, you have an arm, and now you have, and you have the mitzvah of tefillin. It says that it doesn't work that way. It works the other way around. There was a mitzvah of tefillin, and that's why Kadosh Baruch Hu gave you arms. There was a mitzvah. It works the other way around, meaning that the Torah is the blueprint of everything. Everybody has difficulties. Everybody has challenges. Everybody has things that they're working on, things that they want to become better, things that they're dealing with emotionally. There's so many things. Many of these things are stemming from the Yetzer Hara. What does the Gemara tell us? I believe the Gemara is in Kedushin. The Gemara Kedushin tells us, Baratzi Yetzer Hara, Baratzi Tara Taflin. HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the evil inclination, but he also created the Torah as an antidote. The Torah has the solution to every single problem that you have. And this, when you understand the value of Torah, when you understand the value of that's when you're going to be able to find pleasure in it. That's when you're going to be able to go find pleasure in learning Torah and understanding Torah and connecting to Torah. So that's step number 2. Step number 2 is having an awareness of the value of Torah, and that will naturally give you the pleasure in learning Torah. Let's go to number 3, which falls in right after this. Now we can explain why we say the Harav Na right after we make a blessing on the Torah. We say V'harav Na. V'harav Na is HaKadosh Baruch Hu give us a love for Torah. We pray to HaKadosh Baruch Hu that God should make the Torah as pleasurable, as enjoyable to us. And this is really step number 3. Step number 3 is you want to make Torah pleasurable, you want to make Torah enjoyable, daven. Daven to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, God, please make it enjoyable for me. Please make it pleasure for me. And let's go for the final one, which is the 4th one. And that is the Vilna Gaon. Not only the Vilna Gaon, tzaddikim in general, they're able to sit and they're able to learn for hours on end. Yet you have people that after a half hour of learning, they're already tired, they're spacing out. Some people after 5 minutes, some people after an hour, but eventually you get tired. But you look at that tzaddikim, at Gedolim, at the Vilna Gaon, at the Chacham Ovadia Yosef, Reb Chaim Kanievsky. You look at these people; they're able to sit for 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 hours straight without moving and sitting and learning Torah. How is it that one person is able to sit and learn so much straight without any issues? Another person gets antsy, they space out, they get tired, whatever it is. And the difference is that if, let's say, you have a hobby that you enjoy. If you enjoy this hobby very much, you could do this for hours on end without having any like oh my gosh, I'm spaced out. If you have something that you enjoy, you're able to connect to it. You're able to do it for hours on end. The tzaddikim, the gedolim, they're able to connect to it. They're able to sit and they learn and they don't stop because they enjoy it. It's something that's pleasurable for them. So how do we get to that level? Explains Reb Shimshon Pincus. This is number 4. That Torah is like it's like a candy that has a bitter coating on top and a very sweet coating inside. Meaning that Torah, explains Reb Shimshon Pincus, is bitter in the beginning and sweet in the end. And he brings us from a pasuk in Mishlei, chapter 27, verse 7. The pasuk says, "V'nefesh re'eva kol mar masik." So a hungry soul, anything bitter is sweet. And explains the Vilna Gaon on this pasuk that a person does not have a desire for learning Torah and then he tastes the sweetness, but rather the way that it works is when the soul is hungry, meaning that a person goes and they just have a strong desire for learning. And how do they get that desire? It's by engaging in Torah study, learning Torah, and the more that you learn it, the more that you're able to pass that bitter outer, harsher shell where you space out when you're not so connected to it. If you're able to continue with that, then you're going to get the sweetness. Meaning, explains Rabbi Pinkus, that the more that you learn, the hasmada brings the enjoyment. The enjoyment also brings the hasmada. But the more that you learn to it, the more that you delve into it, the more that you're going to enjoy it. But says the Chazon Ish, this is not as if somebody's learning for an hour and then stops for an hour, learning for an hour and then takes a break. There's learning. It's like someone explains the Chazon Ish, if someone plants seeds and then washes them away with a heavy water stream. It's you're not gaining anything. You want to know how you get into the depths of enjoyment and love of learning Torah. It's like someone is searching for gold. If someone's searching for gold or whatever it is, expensive metals, they're not usually in the surface of the earth. You have to dig in deep. You're looking for oil. You have to dig in deep for the valuable stuff. So if someone is searching for valuable minerals, for valuable metals, and they're looking and they dig 5 feet here, 10 feet here, 15 feet here, they're not going to get to the gold. They're not going to get to the valuables. How do you got to dig in deep. You got to go in the same spot, keep on going lower, more and more and more and more. That's when you're going to find something. Explains Reb Shimshon Pincus, you want to enjoy learning. You want to tap into the enjoyment of it. You have to continue with it. It's not something that you could play around with a little bit here, a little bit there. Is it beneficial? Yes. Should you do it? Yes. But you want to know where the enjoyment is we're able to get into that depth. When you're able to continue learning and continue learning and continue learning and non-stop, not 1 hour, not 2, 3, 4 hours straight, that's where you're going to be able to tap into the enjoyment of learning. And Rabbi Shimshon Pincus says there was once a kollel guy that came over to him and said he didn't find satisfaction in his learning. So he wanted to learn, one Gemara in the morning and then switch at midday to a lighter Gemara, meaning something else. And then he wanted to switch around to things that he enjoyed. So he was going to jump from topic to topic. And Rabbi Shimshon Pincus says, no. He says, you're looking at it all wrong. He says, if you do it that way, you're never going to enjoy learning. He says, you want to enjoy learning, you take a topic and you delve into it and you go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and you keep on learning that topic. You learn that topic in the morning. You learn the topic in the afternoon. You learn the topic at night. The more you focus on that topic, the deeper that you dig down, that's when you're going to find enjoyment, into it. And I can tell you look at the series that we were able to, Baruch Hashem, come out. They're usually not a few classes. They're heavy on the volume. Whether it's a Mashiach series where you go with 20 classes, and Muna over 60 classes that we delve into it, because the more that you delve into a topic, the more that you see how everything connects, the more enjoyment that you're able to have. And this is the fourth way to get an enjoyment in learning, an enjoyment, a love in the learning. You have to invest in it. You have to keep on pushing it. You think about someone who wants to learn how to swim. The first time a person goes into the pool and they don't know how to swim, they do not enjoy that at all. They find it very frustrating, life-threatening for some people, very scared. They do not enjoy it at all. But the more that they practice, the more that they get better in it, the more that they can enjoy it. And you have people that, they go and they swim in the ocean. They can't go without it. This is something that they enjoy so much. You have somebody that learn how to ride a bike, never learn. The first time they don't enjoy it, but eventually as they do it, it's an enjoyable experience. They start enjoying it. In the beginning, it gets difficult to enjoy it, but the more that you learn in it, the more that you focus on it, the more that you delve in it, the more enjoyment you will have on it. So we started off this class by asking, why do you need to love Torah? Why is it that you need to love, and not only why you need to love Torah, why is it connected to loving Hashem? Why, the pasuk says, "V'ahavta Hashem Elokecha," and then it says, "V'shenamtam levanecha." Then first it says you have to love God, and then it says that you have to learn Torah, and then we know they have to learn Torah out of love, and then it says Hashem loves us. There's all this love is circulating around this because it explains the Sifri. You want to know how to love God? You want to know how to do v'ahavta Hashem Elokecha? By v'shinamtam levanecha. You want to know to get to a level of loving God? That's through learning Torah, by connecting to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because this is a relationship. Everything else, you do it, you don't do it. Of course, it's better that you enjoy it. It's better that you love it. It's better. It's all better that you do it that way, and you get more reward for it if you do it that way. But at the end of the day, you check off the boxes. But you want to get to the level of connection, the crux of the relationship between you and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, between you and God. That is a love. That is the love. And the love connection is that communication, the time that you spend together. When you're learning, when you're praying, this is the time that you're spending together. This is the time that you have to love. This is the time that you have to enjoy it. Because otherwise, it's all fake. It means nothing. It crumbles. With this, we can begin to understand how the Jewish people went when HaKadosh Baruch Hu came to them and they said, do you want to accept my Torah? HaKadosh Baruch Hu went over to Yishmael. Says, you want to accept my Torah? Yishmael says, what's written inside it? Oh, you can't steal. I said, I'm sorry. My name is Hamas. Hamas means stealing. Literally, the Torah, it says in Parshas Nayach, it's Hamas. The world was filled with theft. I said, no, we can't do it. Not for me. Came over to Esav. Do you want to accept the Torah? He says, well, what is it written inside? Before you make a purchase, before you accept something, you have to know what's written. Says you can't kill. Esav says, no, not for me. I'm sorry. I need to draw blood. This is what I thrive on. HaKadosh Baruch Hu goes over to Mayav, no adultery. One nation after another. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, do you want to take it? They said, what is inside it? And then they said, no, we can't take it. The Jewish people, why didn't they say what's inside it? They said, Na'aseh v'nishma. God goes over to them and says, you want to accept that Torah? Yeah, we'll take it. We will do it and then we will hear it. How did that work? Why would they say that to the Torah? But with this understanding that it's the relationship, the Torah is the relationship, it's the connection between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. God goes over and says, do you want to go out on a date with me? Do you want to connect with me? Of course we'll go on a date. Of course we'll connect with you. Of course we will do it. Okay, whatever it is, we will do it and then we'll listen to it. We'll do it anyway because we're connected. We love you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We want to be one with you. So then, henceforth, they were able to say Na'aseh v'nishma. They didn't need to ask anything. They didn't need to ask what's inside of it. It explains the Shvilei Pinchas or Pinchas Friedman. How do you know that you reached the level of connection? How do you know? What's the test to know that you succeeded in making Torah this strong connection, this love, the connection of love? So he quotes from a Mishnah in Pirkei Avos, in the 6th parak of Mishnah in Pirkei Avos. It says, Rabbi Meir Omer, Kol ha'isek b'Torah lishma zeiche ledvarim harpeh. Whoever delves into Torah lishma is worthy of many things. But one of the things is Megalin loy razei Torah. He gets revealed the secrets of Torah. Explains the Degel Machne Ephraim. It says, if one studies Torah, if you want to know how you get to a level that you're connected, that you have this connected test, is if the Torah basically reveals its secrets to you. If you understand the secrets of the Torah, it's like a wife who only reveals her secrets and her intimate thoughts to her husband. And a husband only reveals his secrets to his wife because there's that connection. So the test, the litmus test, the legitimacy test to see if you're connected to the Torah is that if you're learning Torah and you'll understand, and all of a sudden you could understand the secrets of the Torah. And the Torah, once it's revealed the secrets, then you know that you have this connection, because a woman and a husband only reveal secrets only to the other when they're in love, when they're connected. And this is something that the Jewish people knew about throughout the generation. This we see, there's a Gemara in Tainis that tells us that the Jewish people had no holidays like Tu B'Av and Yom Kippur, which is a very odd, out of the two holidays, these are the ones that stand out. Okay, Yom Kippur, I understand, that's where you have the forgiveness, but Tu B'Av, what's Tu B'Av? What's so important about Tu B'Av? So the Gemara gives a few answers, but one of the answers is that by Tu B'Av, the summer's sun, the strength of the heat of the sun, begins to wane on Tu B'Av. So during this time, the people would stop chopping down wood stop chopping down trees for wood for the Mizbeach. Why? Because wood chopped at a later date from this is not going to dry out properly. They're going to become full of worms. They're not going to be usable. So now people had more time. They weren't working out in the field. So what did they do? From that time, they went and they started focusing on learning Torah. They spend more time learning Torah. So the Mishnah says that the Jewish people had no holidays so special, such a happy days as these 2 days. Why? Because what's so special about Tu B'Av? Tu B'Av is a time where they were able to increase in their learning Torah. Meaning they realize, you know what? When you have someone and be like, okay, do you want to go on a vacation, a paid vacation with your spouse, to take you to Hawaii, to Israel, whatever it is that you want, a full paid vacation, are you not going to be happy? Of course I could spend time together with my spouse. Of course I'll be happy. So over here, the Jewish people were happy. Finally, I could connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I could sit and learn Torah. I could sit and connect. And they had this enjoyment. They had this love for it. And that's why they longed for it. And that's why they wanted it. And hence, we see the flip side of where they weren't on that level, and the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed. The Gemara in Devarim, page 81a, tells us that why was the Beis HaMikdash destroyed? And the Gemara says something very interesting. None of the prophets, none of the wise men, no one was able to give us the answer. Until HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave the answer. And he says, you want to know why the why the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed? Because you've forsaken my Torah. What does that mean that they've forsaken the Torah? If the Jewish people were not learning Torah, the Chachamim, the sages, the rabbis wouldn't be able to say, okay, you guys are not learning, okay? You guys are not sitting in the base bench, you guys are not learning, you guys don't know anything. The prophets, of course they would be like, of course, you guys are not learning, that's the reason. So why is it, if the reason is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, you guys were forsaken my Torah, then how did nobody know about this? How did only HaKadosh Baruch Hu know about this? Because when they went over to the rabbis and said, I don't know, only HaKadosh Baruch Hu told them, you want to know why I had to destroy the house? Because you've forsaken my Torah. And the reason is, the Gemara answers, is because they didn't do Birchas HaTorah. They didn't give the blessing on the Torah. What does that mean? They didn't do the Birchas HaTorah. The means is that the people did not have the appreciation of the Torah. Yes, they learned Torah. Yes, they stuck to all the halachas that they needed to do. But the Ran explains that it's the way that they went about Torah study which was a problem. Torah was, you have to be excited when you learn it. When you have an opportunity to go and learn it, you have to go and you have to delve into it, you have to be excited about it. The nation did not have this. Unfortunately, they did not have it. They didn't feel this level of appreciation and this thanks that they had to give to HaKadosh Baruch Hu on making the blessing beforehand. If you don't have the appreciation for Torah, this is where the nation, started. Unfortunately, the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed. So we see over here how important it is coming for the holiday of Shavuot. And the Rizal says that you get judged on Shavuot and how much Torah you can be able to, to learn, and how you're going to get to that. It's also you're sitting on Shavuot. Shavuot is a time where we get the Torah. So the question is, what are you going to do on Shavuot? How are you going to do? You're going to sit and learn on that. You're going to learn a little bit over here, you're going to say something over there, you're going to fall asleep, you're going to be so tired, or you're going to be like, no, wait a minute, this is the time where HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I'm betrothed to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I'm betrothed to the Torah. How am I going to say, okay, I'm not interested, I'm so tired, let me take a break, or am I going to double down and be like, no, let me spend time together, let me connect with you. And this, let's do a quick recap, and then we'll open up for questions. So, is that how do we get to that? So we said, number one, you have to seclude yourself, just like by the Nisun and the Kedushin, by the two stages of marriage. The first stage, they're married, but they're not. How do you finalize the marriage? Is by the seclusion, and that same thing is by the Torah. We were verastichle be'emunah. We connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Verastichle allot. We're betrothed to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But how do we complete that? We have to have that seclusion. So when we're sitting and learning Torah, there's nothing else in the world that exists. There's only this. That's number one. Number two, HaKadosh Baruch Hu only gives Torah to someone who has wisdom. So how do we tap into that? We tap into that by, if you have the awareness of the value of the Torah, then you're going to be able to get that blessing of wisdom and of the Torah. And this is, if you have the awareness, if you have the value of it, that's when you're going to get the pleasure of learning Torah as well. That's number two. Number three is we say V'harav no, Avas Olam, HaMerachim Rachim Aleinu. We daven to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu, please let us enjoy learning Torah. Please let us enjoy connecting to you. And finally, the fourth way to do it is that you keep on going forward. It's going to be difficult, and it's going to be hard. You're going to space out. You're going to fall. But the more that you push, the more that you learn, the greater your enjoyment is going to be. So with this, before we will do the regular Tehillim for Klal Yisrael, with this, as we approach Shavuos, is something that we should keep in mind, that we are connecting to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And this is for women, this is for men, this is for everybody. There's no, like when you look at the value of the woman on raising the children, a lot of these steps, this is how like a child sees in the house. When a mother is usually around more, if the child sees that the mother is invested, that the mother loves the Lord, that it's connected to Torah, this is what they see as important. So this is what they'll invest in. This is what they'll go and they'll connect to. But if they see it, they're like, it's okay, what's a big deal? Like they don't care about it. Just like in the time of after. It was after World War II when people came to America. There were people that sacrificed to keep Shabbos, and they would have to work 7 days a week or 6 days a week, and Shabbos was one of the day, and they kept on like getting fired from their jobs, but yet there was a very, very high turnover rate with their children not staying on the religious path. And the question they have to ask is, how is it possible that you have a parent who gives up a job every single week, and the children they're not staying religious? And the answer is because when the parent comes home, they say, "Oh, it's so difficult to be a Jew. I have to give up my job every single time." So the more that you say, "Oh, it's so difficult to be a Jew, it's so difficult to learn Torah," then the kid will be like, "Okay, then why would I want to learn? Why would I want to be a Jew? Why would I want to get away from this? Why would I say so difficult?" So the way that the home comes in, if you have a value for Torah, if you have this enjoyment for Torah, that's going to be passed on to your to your children. So the bracha that I have for each and every single one of you and us is that we should have this tremendous enjoyment for Torah, this tremendous ahava, this connection of learning Torah. We'd be able to focus on it, we'd be able to delve into it, we'd be able to reveal the secrets of the Torah, and we'd be able to get to this level that our children and our children's children will have all this power, this depth of the Torah, and this connection to the Torah, and hence the v'ahavta es Hashem Elokecha as well. We'll say a kapitel Tehillim for the soldiers in Eretz Yisrael, and then we will open up to any questions. So far it doesn't look like we have anything, so we'll end it off then. We say Kapitel Kuf Lamed, chapter 130. Shir Amalais Mima Makim Karasicha Adonai Adonai Shema Bekoili Tiana Aznecha Kashu Vais Lekol Tachanunai Ima Vainais Tish Maria Adonai Mi Amoid Ki Imcha Slicha Leman Tivarei Kivi Isi Adonai Kif Sanafshi Vilidvaraya Chalti Nafshi la Adonai Mishamim la Baiker Shomim la Baiker Yachel Yisrael al Adonai Ki Ma Adonai Yachesed V'Arbei Moifedus V'Hu Yiftas Yisrael Mikol Avonei Sov Achenu Kol Beis Yisrael and Asunim Batzara V'Shivya Ha'imdim Bein Bayam U'Bein Bayabasha Ha'Makam Yirachim Aleim V'Yitzir Mitzara L'Ervacha Ma'Feila L'Ara Meshiba L'Gula Hashta Ba'Gala B'Zman Karev and Amar Amen. All right. I see we don't have any questions. I thank you all for joining. Anybody that does want to join us is more than welcome to join the WhatsApp group. You can either email me at rabbizichron@torahanytime.com, or you can look at the bottom of the description of the YouTube. Hopefully we'll get this Torah Anytime, so you don't have to go to the description, so you don't have to get the link from there. But until next time, may you all have an amazing, fulfilling Yom Tov of Shavuos and amazing, amazing Shabbos.